Hello everyone and welcome to our Let's Play series of Torment, Tides of Numenera. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you chose to join me today here in this colorful bar. I suppose it might be a bar, I don't know, I don't really know, but whatever it is, there's people in here. Last episode we helped out Sally Mary. We didn't get to do much with her. I was kind of expecting to be able to get some revenge or something. But the developers thought not to make more quests with her, and we just went to the last place in the what's the name of that? Cliff's Edge or Reef of the Fallen Worlds, I think that's what it's called. And we went there, and we got rid of the artificial intelligence that was trying to take over the world by something. I don't know. It was having drones in there, but they were all locked inside. It was very weird. Anyway, we're gonna continue looking around and have a chat here with Sn'erf and see what that is all about. Slouched before you is a figure clad in a dusty, unremarkable robe. Loose folds of rough cloth shift to reveal a vaguely humanoid form with elongated facial features and two elaborate biomechanical arms. You can't help but notice the size, the shape, and even the number of its digits changing as it tinkers with a bizarre-looking device on the table. It glances up at you. Its eyes are the size of your palms. You realize it is a visitant, a being from another world. "Greetings, fellow sentient," it says, nodding with studied respect. "I will be with you in a moment." Its mechanical fingers contract and dance independently over the surface of the device before it adjusting and tightening. "There, I am Sn'erf, guest of the Order of Truth. What brings you to my workspace?" I didn't quite... What's your name? How did you pronounce it again? "Ah," it says, "you are hearing a brief elision in my name, correct? A majority of the component syllables are untranslatable or beyond human range of hearing. I will try to approximate them." He draws in a deep breath. "Sn'larga," and with a brief poem about the ambient temperature of dust in moonlight here, "Gongus," and the word that describes a color similar to blue, "Ramelerf." A color similar to blue. I suppose outside of our field of vision, I suppose. So Sn'lag, that's his name. He shrugs. "I prefer the name your people here. The name is all too common where I come from. My name, I should say." Oh, easy. Oh, it's a very beautiful name, I would say. Tell me about yourself. "Your curiosity honors me," it says, inclining its head. "I came through the bloom from another world. To be absolutely honest, I was exiled for inadvertent sacrilege and perversion. I would imagine that you are curious about my people's reproductive processes at this point," it adds placidly. "I would happily describe them. The more detail, the better." "Certainly," it says, beaming. "No details shall be spared. It is a rather complicated topic, however, so let me know when you're ready to speak at length." I'm ready. My body is ready for this. "Deprived of the layers of sociological complexity, the process is quite simple," the visitant says. "At a certain age, my people ceremonially choose a limb before removal. The limb is grown into a new being. Children, in your terminology. This is where matters get more complicated. The selected part relegates the child to a caste. Armed children become laborers, leg children become warriors, and head children, due to the sacrifice implied in their creation, become leaders." Sn'erf studies its metal hands. "As I've suggested, the limbs we surrender do not grow back. In fact, those who replace their limbs insult their children and sin against their people." So this is where your biomechanical arm comes in, right? Your arms, I should say. "You are correct. Unfortunately. I surrendered my arms to create my children," it says. "They grew to maturity and joined me in my study of various void-born Numenera." I was gonna go for a French interpretation of that word. Void-born Numenera. That's an interesting notion. "For a time, we were happy." It lowers its eyes. "Then I discovered a melted humanoid figurine. I did no more than glance at its folded arms before it opened its eyes. This is the last thing I remember. I woke with the arms you see now." Sn'erf sighs. "My children, thinking I had disowned them, disowned me, and my people were even less merciful." It wasn't fair of your people to punish you for an accident." "I'm not sure it was," the visitant says carefully. "My work was difficult at best when I lacked arms. Perhaps the artifact heard my frustration and sought to ease it." Sn'erf shakes its head. A moment's weakness can cost us so much. At least, I have found other ways to make my mind, to take my mind off the loss of my family and my people. Yeah, I suppose you have. It was only when I began visiting other worlds that I learned that most species do not reproduce by severing their limbs, Sn'erf says, shaking its head. The discovery fascinated me, and so I began cataloging the various methods of procreation found throughout the void. It was only when I found my way to Sagas Cliffs, by way of the Bloom, that I was offered a place to work, here in the Order of Truth. And there you have it, the Visitant says, folding its mechanical arms. So you're a collector of porn? Sure, interspecial. Oh, actually, not necessarily interspecial, but more in just because of many species. That's what's the word for that? Like the panspecial porn. Panspecial, because pan means like wide-reaching. I think though. I think that's the one. That's gonna be the name of this game, of this episode. So tell me about one of these reproductive processes you find so fascinating. Oh, Calorales. Though they are brutal creatures formed from organic and inorganic substances, they do share certain characteristics with my people. They do not have genders and reproduce by expelling an organic mass deep into moist, fertile soil. The mass eventually grows into an autonomous being. The effect it has on nearby sentient life forms is truly fascinating, he thinks, for the survivors anyway. I wasn't old enough to hear about any of that, Rin moans, covering her ears, and I never want to be. Yeah, I don't think it's the beauty of nature, Rin, shut up. You're old enough for a lot of stuff already, so it's not a problem. Tell me some other. Do you have anything else? Flesh pups, or skin swimmers, are particularly interesting, if somewhat gruesome. The tiny parent painlessly invades a host organism who does not notice the parasite until a painful, rigid swelling appears on their torso or neck. Once the host is drained of nutrients, the boil bursts, releasing a glistening flood of newborn pups, the flesh pups. We should retreat, Heritis hisses in your ear. This visitant is filling my head with unwelcome images. Yes, he is. Tell me of another one. March, also called rotblooms, oh, that's gonna be even better, fell their prey with venomous stingers and plant their fertilized eggs directly into the corpse. In a little more than a week, that's not reproductive. Anyway, in a little more than a week, their children are born, thrusting up through the decaying, yielding flesh like flowers in bloom. Yeah, that's quite normal. Alikern says the Order of Truth will give workspace to anyone these days. Yes, it will. So those arms of yours are interesting. How do they function? Oh, I'm not quite sure, it says, raising them for your inspection. Extra digits whirl out of the mechanical palms in a somewhat nauseating wave and disappear just as quickly. They seem to... Oh, wait a minute, that's not him saying, that was just the narrator, that's what it's doing. They seem to be as sentient as either of us, but obedient so long as I keep them busy. Otherwise, they scramble about while I rest, touching things, picking locks, strangling the odd rodent, the visitant sighs. I've forced them to take up knitting. So what's the device you're working on? A minor project of mine, it says with a self-deprecating wave. Something to widen the boundaries of my research. It scans the unknown reproductive processes and displays them for further study. The device clicks to itself. Ah, Sn'erf says. Watch. A transparent image of two goat-headed humanoids appears over the device. At first, it seems they are wrestling each other. After a moment, you realize your mistake. Copulating marger. Fascinating, he says, Sn'erf says. The visitant begins taking careful, angular notes in an unfamiliar language on the scroll beside the device. There's quite a lot of motion involved, isn't there, he thinks. You're going to be rich. What sort of notes could you possibly be taking right now? Simply my first observations of the methods on display, the visitant says. Positioning, the setting, of course. Really? Well, I suppose. One of the creatures utters a bleating shriek, and results, the visitant adds, making another note. Okay. Farewell, I guess. Farewell, fellow sentient. That was, interesting. Lan Uring. This Thin young man smiles hesitantly as you approach. You notice a small metallic ovoid protruding from his skull, nearly hidden by his disheveled head. Or hair, I should say. That'll be bad. The fingers of his left hand tap nervously on his leg as he speaks. I'm not a real priest yet, he blurts, then blushes. If that's what you were thinking. Usually visitors only talk to me because they think I'm a priest, but I'm still a novice. He plucks at a threadbare spot on his robes. What is that implant on your forehead? It's just not on my forehead, he says. Not just the skin, I mean. It's bounded with my skull. He blinks at you a few times before he realizes he hasn't answered your question. It keeps me awake and alert. I don't get tired until it runs out of power. And what powers it? Dreams, he says. The scarier ones, the better. I can't remember the last time I had a good dream, actually, he thinks. I'm sure it's just coincidence, though. So, what's your area of study? What? He says, blinking, straightening. You want to know what I'm working on? Are you sure? Why, is it particularly complicated? I don't think so, he says, looking down. But people usually get impatient, or angry, or they laugh. He looks back up. But I'll tell you, if you really want to know. Yeah, I do. Why not? I'm designing an intelligence, he says. But not the normal kind, not, just metal or what with a dependent intelligence rigging system. No, it's larger than that, stronger. Lan himself seems to be getting stronger, rising as he speaks. You hadn't noticed before, but he is actually taller than you. Oh, we have Gandalf over here. The idea is this: an intelligence that can find, test, identify, and fully understand Numenera. We can unlock the secrets of lost civilizations. His eyes are gleaming now, and he raises a trembling fist. Do you understand? If we do this, we can break the chains binding us to the past and turn them into reins with which to steer the future. That seems useful. No one would get hurt testing Numenera on themselves anymore. Oh, he says, dropping his righteous fist. Righteous? Clearly this benefit has never occurred to him. Of course. The fervent gleam slowly fades from his eyes. It's only a theory, though, for now. I don't have the funding, not yet, but I've been studying machines with Min when he can spare the time, and he likes my ideas, even if he thinks they're impossible. He looks away. I think he's disappointed I'm not a real Aeon priest yet. I should have the money by now, he thinks. I was told they'd keep paying me, even after the first time. What? It sounds like Min is being... Wait a minute. Don't you want to be one? Oh yeah, he breathes. Huh, that would change everything. Only full Aeon priests have access to the Order's funds. I can use them to build a full prototype. Min might protest, but he'll understand once I get the design right. He licks his lips. They're dry, almost leathery. I just need to get it right, that's all. So what do you need to do to become an Aeon priest? You have to make a major discovery, he says. A mystery that's remained unsolved for a long time, but I've spent too much time on my own research. He looks down at his feet. I haven't gotten anywhere. Well, I have a skill that allows me to identify Numenera. How does that actually... Could that work on this guy? Or an ability? It's not a skill, it's an ability, I think. I'll tell you about something I've discovered. You claim it as your own. No, that's not gonna... I'm not gonna do that. Should I do that? I suppose I should. I mean, it's only... I guess I'm gonna do that. It's the only real choice we have over here, and that wouldn't be too out of character, so let's go with that. I'll tell you something that I've discovered, and you can claim it as your own and become an Aeon priest. You will? He says, blood draining from his face. Is that allowed? Well, you're devoted to research. Look at this as an interesting colleague supporting your studies, I guess. He flushes so deeply that it's a wonder his clothes don't burst into flame. Oh, thank you, he whispers. I'm ready. What discoveries have you made? What sort of discoveries will help you? Really major ones, he says, looking frustrated. The causes of long-standing problems in the city, for example, or solving a mystery that's remained unexplained for a long time. A long time. Okay, so we do have the stick over there. That's pretty good. And I can tell you who was killing people in the underbelly and how. So I think this one might be a little bit better. I really don't want to tell all about the stick because I kind of like the guys. So I'm going to go with this one. Let's see if he likes that with the killing of the underbelly. No, he says, alarmed. Oh, I mean, that's not the kind of discovery that Order is looking for. They're more interested in ancient mysteries, artifacts. He licks his lips nervously. Okay, so do you know about the stick and the damage they've done to the city? Everyone does, he says, sagging. But thank you for trying. Okay. When I find something useful, I'll let you know. Oh, alright. Okay, well, so I'll see you later, I guess. Right, farewell. Man, is that a quest? Did we get a quest? We did not. So, I don't think this is actually a thing we can do. It's just fluff text, I guess, or flavor text or something. Okay, we have some computers over here. I wonder if we can, like, make the discovery right now, just in a moment's time. He's been working here for years, and we're just gonna, I found something very interesting. If I correlate these data, and just add this data over there and over there, I conclude that the meaning of life is 42. This desk is cluttered with scrawled notes, piles of paper, and worn books. The owner was either extremely disorganized, or left in a hurry. Eligern steps closer to the desk. He growls in frustration. This is where Orthfong usually works. But where is he? Let's examine the papers in the books. Before you have a chance to examine the mess, Eligern leans forwards and plucks a folded note from the top of the pile. Orth is a paranoid bastard. He writes all his messages in code. Looks like this one is for me. He breaks the wax seal and scans the note. As he reads, his face grows tight with fury. Fong took my frame and left. He said it's not safe here. He wrote more about my tattoos and... Never mind. He's not here. He glances towards the Aeon priests. We can talk about it some other time. Okay, let's try and examine the papers in the books again. You wrestle through the mass of documents and notes. Most of them discuss the buildings and architecture of prior worlds. They're filled with drawings and descriptions of bizarre structures uncovered by scholars and explorers. The owner of this desk seems to have been particularly interested in doors, door frames, and archways. He has drawn circles around all such things, but his scrawled comments are never more revealing than similar but not a match, or could there be a connection here? Okay. I guess we could work something out of this, some reverse engineering stuff from there or something, I don't know. This desk is tiny and neat. A book entitled Ecology of Biomechanical Hybrids is open to a sparse entry on the enigmatic Nyctemeron. And we found one of these guys before. He's in the Circus Minor. This glowing display shows a globe. The ninth world, probably. Green lines depict trajectories that a ship could follow into the void between worlds. This is pretty cool. Looks like a... This is pretty awesome. Look at that. It's pretty awesome. What do we have over here? These books are piled haphazardly on the floor. They reflect a dozen areas of inquiry, most of which are entirely unrelated to each other. Okay, so let's see what we have over here. Abhumans and the Sagas Protectorate. Is this interesting? I suppose this might be relevant. The creatures known as abhumans are believed to descend from human ancestors, but at some point in their history they become something else, perhaps through a mutation, directed breeding, or accelerated evolution. Unlike mutants, abhumans have rejected their ability and leave their humanity, I should say, and live as beasts, though some are very clever. Nearly all of them are violent and cruel, preying upon humanity when they can. Well, actually, that's not true, so it's unfalse. Nearly all of them. I can't say that it is untrue, but nearly all that I met, abhumans, they are all nice and friendly. Historically, two species of abhumans have been common in the Sagas Protectorate. The first is the vile Murden. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so there's... Oh, okay. Hunched and bird-like, with a sharp, dirty beak and a thick down of black feathers. Murdens subsist as thieves and murderers on the fringes of human society, rarely posing an organized threat to a community, but often ambushing lone victims or terrorizing isolated homesteads. They are incapable of speech, but they communicate with one another through a primitive form of telepathy that bleeds into the minds of everyone nearby, which can prove a dangerous distraction. Most of the time, Murdens are notorious cowards, preferring to flee if the odds are not clearly in their favor. It's a good survival method. The other abhuman species that have once prospered here is the Yokvok, short and squat with jaundiced skin. Yovoki hunt and kill for pleasure, and they eat whatever they kill. Yep. How is that for pleasure? Because I know you know what I mean. I guess humans also hunt and kill for pleasure and eat whatever. Not all that they kill, but you know what I mean. Hunt. Yeah. In the days when slavery was openly practiced in the Sagas Cliffs, bands of Yovoki were permitted to range across the frontier, raiding autochthonous autochthonous, tribes of humans and mutants, and taking captives to be sold in the flesh markets of the Bloom. The vicious Yavaki would sometimes rape their captives as well, and stories say that children were sometimes born from these pairings, tainting the bloodlines of certain families. After the rebellion of Sheila the Great, slavery was outlawed in Saga's Cliffs, and Yavaki fled the Protectorate. They haven't been seen in centuries, but the people of Saga's Cliffs still remember them, and any proof of a blood connection to these creatures is enough to destroy a family's reputation. And that's, yeah, we heard about these guys before, because we used this as a bargaining chip against the guy that was trying to kill the Stickus that was in the Cliff's Edge, I think it's the name of that place. And also, I should say over here that autochthonous, yeah, if you don't know what this means, basically it's an autochthonous population is basically the population that was there from, you know, all along, I guess that's what it means, and not brought in, so yeah. So I'll take that, thank you very much.
It wouldn't hurt you to smile once in a while.
It would hurt someone, all right.
Your smiles are dangerous? Your laughter must be deadly.
Wouldn't that be awesome, Eritis? Wouldn't that be awesome? Oh, look at that! We found Calistige! That's her! Look at her and her... What is that she's wearing right now? Look at that! She has I don't even know what that is. Like a thing. Like, you know, the thing? She has a thing. Why? Calistige don't have the... That's not... Okay. What is this? A small wireframe pyramid sits on a base of polished wood. Lying inside the pyramid is a dull sphere of silverish metal. Let's examine the sphere first. Suspended in its wire cage, the sphere is almost perfectly sized to fit in your palm. The gaps in the wiry mesh are large enough for you to reach through, though not large enough to pull the sphere out. Okay, let's examine the frame first. The frame appears to be fixed firmly in place. It's constructed of an organic material grown in a manner similar to bone or coral. Thinner, vein-like strands of the material wind. I suppose it's wind. Across each of the triangular sides. Yeah, something strikes you as odd about it, but you can't quite determine why. Let's try to discover what seems odd about the frame. And look at that, it's fantastic. This is absolutely awesome. That edge. While examining the frame, you try nudging it gently, and it shifts in a most peculiar manner. You focus on moving the frame in various directions and discover that it can be easily lifted straight up off the base and lowered back down onto it, but it refuses to move laterally, even while being held in mid-air. So much like a gyroscope or something. Although, the gyroscope, you can move the gyroscope, you can just rotate. That's what the gyroscope is for, you can't rotate it. Can you move a gyroscope? Yeah, you can. A gyroscope can be moved in any direction. It can't be rotated. I think that's what it is for. Yeah. It's kind of interesting. So let's examine the base. See if it's electrocuted or something. She might know something about this. The base appears to be made from a slab of lurid red stone. On closer inspection, you recognize it as petrified wood of some kind. An inscription has been written on the base in front of the pyramid. Let's examine the inscription. The inscription is in an alien language. It has been burned into the wood and then filled with a luminous substance, or filled, I should say, with a luminous substance. Though you know you haven't seen the language in your own short lifetime as a cast-off, it seems familiar. It still seems familiar. Let's try to recall. Is that anamnesias? Well, it is 100%. That's what it is, without any effort applied, apart from the edge. And it was anamnesias. A distant memory surfaces. You're standing before a large metal cylinder that looms a meter or two above your head. The cylinder is a time capsule of sorts, and you're convinced that what lies within is crucial or critical to your latest experiments. The problem, alas, is that the capsule is locked, and the only clue to opening it is a series of strange glyphs etched into its sides. Glancing around, you see dusty tomes, faded banners, metal scraps, and dozens of other objects, all featuring the same strange glyphs. You've spent a lifetime collecting every trace of this language that could be found, and decades of study have finally led to this moment. You look upon the glyphs, and you know their meaning. Stepping forward, you reach towards the cylinder as prescribed by the etchings, and it flares to life. Shaking off the memory, you look down at the inscription and realize that its meaning is now clear. The crimson dawn greets the seeker. The violet dusk sees the search's end. Okay, so it starts red and then ends violet. Is that what it means? Let's touch the sphere. I think that might be what it is. As you extend your hand towards the sphere, the thinner strands along the front side of the cage retract towards the thicker frame edges, creating an opening large enough for the sphere to fit through. Let's take the sphere, I guess. You pull the sphere out of the frame through the opening facing you, and it immediately begins to glow a scintillating blue. You pause a moment to make sure there are no other effects, then try to put it with the rest of your belongings. At some point during this motion, the sphere simply vanishes, only to reappear within the frame. Once again, a dull gray. Apparently taking the sphere will not be quite so easy. Okay, so can I make a choice? I think so. You pull the sphere out again, and once again it glows a brilliant blue before disappearing and returning to the frame. After a little experimentation, you discover that the sphere's position, as I imagined, seems to reset whenever it moves. Oh, okay, so it's not going to be different colors for different places. Seems to reset whenever it moves beyond a particular distance from the device. As long as you keep it within that distance, as you are now, you can hold onto it. What? Let's take the entire oh, I can take the entire device with me? Okay, let's... Huh. I don't know what let's take the entire device with me. Let's see what happens. The device is far too bulky, yeah, to carry around with you. As if for reading your thoughts, Min looks over and shakes his head sadly while muttering something under his breath. Who the hell's Min? I don't know who Min is. Who's that? Okay, let's put the sphere back. Oh, wait a minute. As I put the sphere back in the frame, it changes to a vibrant orange color. It occurs to you that the sphere seems to respond to moving through the frame boundaries. Perhaps moving it through the other sides will produce additional results. Yeah, okay, so let's... Yeah, this is what I expected. I mean, come on. So let's see. Remove the sphere from the frame via the front. It's a violet one. That's the end. So left. That's a deep violet. Sphere changes to a deep violet. Front and left. Right. Dull orange. And back. Cool green. Lurid red. Orange. Lurid red. Deep violet. Lurid red. And I'll lift the frame and remove the sphere via the bottom opening. What is that for? Shining yellow. Indigo, that's blue, right? And then shining yellow. So it shifts between brilliant blue and cool green. That's weird. Orange, a blazing orange, and a dull orange. Blazing orange and a dull orange. Let's see if these things... So I got a deep violet and a dull orange. A deep violet. Okay, I know what it is, I think. And a dull orange. So there's always an order. There's a... Okay, I think there's an order here. So, you can't... So, if I start with the left... No, if I start with the front opening, it goes deep violet. And then the right opening. So I need to go left opening, lurid red, and then this one, bright orange. It's the second one. It's this, you know what I mean? What is this one for? Deep violet. But I can't. You know, I have no idea. I don't really understand. Yeah, it becomes silver. So I'm gonna try to figure out what this is, and on the next episode I'll remove it, because I can't really understand what it is for. The game is not really telling me much about that. So, and then we're gonna talk to Calistege, and this time I'm gonna pronounce her name properly, hopefully. And maybe Ali Gurn is gonna tell her, and say, hey, Calistege, or Cal, or whatever. I think he's calls her Cal. Well, anyway, we'll see. For now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Torment, Tides of Numenera. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video, but above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.